Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike, and this video shares about what might happen when an Oath of Devotion Paladin and a Light Domain Cleric help each other in a battle against a Draconic Sorcerer. All of these characters are at level 8. The encounter follows the rules of the 2024 Player's Handbook in Dungeons & Dragons. Unknown to the Paladin and the Cleric at first, the Sorcerer will be assisted by a Fire Elemental. The statistics are in the 2025 Monster Manual. The Fire Elemental ranks as a Challenge Rating 5 creature. In the video text description, you can see the web links for the level 8 character sheets in D&D Beyond. If you have seen other videos in this series of Nemesis Battles, then you know that the characters are not necessarily optimal as combatants. Part of the intention here is to experiment and learn what could happen with different kinds of characters. The High Elf Oath of Devotion Paladin is named Vona Navan. She relies on her maximized Charisma ability score, adding a +5 bonus to her attack rolls with her Secret Weapon feature, and to her saving throws with her Aura of Protection. The Strength ability score is lower than for most paladins, and Vona Navan operates somewhat differently than might be expected. The human Light Domain Cleric is named Clara Cloudburn. She can manage well enough through most combat situations, using True Strike for a weapon attack and choosing from a variety of spells such as Spiritual Weapon, Spirit Guardians, Guiding Bolt, and more. Defensively, the Light Cleric can use her Warding Flare feature, and she can access Shield thanks to her Magic Initiate feat. The human Draconic Sorcerer is named Sebastian Drake. He can choose among many damage-dealing spells. During this particular battle, the Sorcerer probably will use his meta magic for quickening a spell as a bonus action. His elemental affinity with fire grants resistance to fire damage and a small bonus of damage with fire spells. The Sorcerer comes into this encounter with all of his powers, while his two opponents have spent a few of their spell slots and other resources. Furthermore, the Sorcerer secretly is equipped with a magic item of an elemental gem that can summon a fire elemental. Leading up to this point, Vona Navan and Clara Cloudburn have been students at the Spellsword Academy. They faced each other in a duel, as the first of 3 tests for graduating from the Academy. The Paladin conceded the duel, yet both of the duelists were deemed worthy of continuing into the second of the 3 tests, in this case involving a teamwork challenge. At this time, the Draconic Sorcerer Sebastian Drake revealed himself, seeking revenge against the founder and leader of this newest version of the Spellsword Academy, the Bladesinger wizard Sailumunglo. Previously, the Bladesinger had defeated the Sorcerer, and now the Sorcerer issues a new challenge to fight not against the Bladesinger, but rather against the Bladesinger's 2 students. If the Sorcerer will win, then he will bind the 2 students to work for him. If the Sorcerer will lose, then he will go away and admit the defeat. Vona Navan and Clara Cloudburn used healing potions for regaining their full hit points, yet they are missing a few of their power resources. The Paladin has expended her once per day free casting of Divine Smite and Find Steed, 1 use of her Channel Divinity feature, and 1 first-level spell slot, plus 20 of her pool of 40 hit points with her Lay on Hands feature. The Paladin is not currently mounted on her otherworldly steed, but the steed is positioned nearby. The Cleric has expended 2 of her Warding Flares and 2 of her 3rd-level spell slots. The Paladin and the Cleric hope for their teamwork in this battle to satisfy the second of the 3 tests for graduating from the Spellsword Academy. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, the Light Domain Cleric, and the Draconic Sorcerer roll for initiative. The Sorcerer wins this contest, and he will act first, followed by the Paladin and then the Cleric. In round 1, the Sorcerer, Sebastian Drake, produces a tiny red gem. He uses his action to break the gem on the ground. From the broken shards, a fire erupts and transforms into a fire elemental. The sorcerer commands the elemental to attack the paladin. Before the elemental can act, though, the sorcerer uses his bonus action with metamagic to quicken a spell. He casts greater invisibility on himself. While invisible, the sorcerer moves into a new position. The fire elemental enters into the initiative order, acting immediately after the sorcerer. The elemental can move into the space of the paladin, and instantly it causes 4 fire damage. The fire elemental attempts to burn attacks against the paladin. As a reaction, the cleric interposes her warding flare, granting 11 temporary hit points to the paladin and causing the first attack to roll with disadvantage. The disadvantage attack roll is 14, and it is not enough to hit with the paladin's armor class of 17. The second attack misses again. At the end of the fire elemental's turn, it generates a surge of heat in a radius of 10 feet around itself. The paladin, the paladin's otherworldly steed, and the cleric all sustain 8 fire damage, and now they suffer the burning condition. At the start of the paladin's turn, the burning condition causes 1 fire damage to the paladin, and it causes 3 fire damage to her otherworldly steed. This condition will continue until something can be done to end the burning condition. The paladin commands her steed to disengage and move away to a safer position. As her action, the paladin casts the spell Command, ordering the fire elemental to flee. The fire elemental fails the wisdom saving throw. It will need to spend the entirety of its next turn to flee away from the paladin. The paladin steps out from the space of the fire elemental, but she remains within the elemental's reach without provoking an opportunity attack. The light domain cleric, Clara Cloudburn, begins her turn with 4 points of fire damage due to the burning condition. She uses a 2nd level spell slot to cast See Invisibility. Now she can see the invisible sorcerer. She moves into melee contact. The sorcerer still retains the benefits of invisibility against other creatures, such as against the paladin. At the end of round 1, the sorcerer and his fire elemental so far have been unharmed. The elemental caused some damage to the paladin, to the cleric, and to the paladin's otherworldly steed. The sorcerer remains invisible to the paladin, but not to the cleric. While observing the battle, the Bladesinger wizard, Sayla Moonglow, feels confident that her 2 students will prevail. In round 2, the sorcerer once again uses a bonus action to quicken a spell. He casts Thunderstep, causing an explosion of thunderous energy around himself. The cleric rolls a Constitution saving throw. A result of 16 succeeds. The success reduces the 17 thunder damage by half down to 8. With the Thunderstep, the sorcerer teleports into a new location. At this time, the sorcerer does not want to move too far away. He prefers to control the range for casting the spells that he wants to cast. As an action, the sorcerer casts the cantrip Sorcerous Burst at the paladin, rolling with advantage while invisible. The attack roll of 26 hits against the paladin's armor class of 17. It delivers 15 fire damage when including the sorcerer's elemental affinity with fire. The fire elemental needs to spend its turn to obey the paladin's previous command to flee. When the fire elemental begins to move away, the paladin uses her reaction with the Warcaster feat to cast True Strike while attacking with her longsword. The attack of 23 hits the elemental. The strike delivers 14 points of radiant damage. The fire elemental continues to flee from the paladin, using its dash action to move 100 feet. Now at the start of the paladin's turn, the burning condition causes 2 fire damage to the paladin and 1 damage to the paladin's steed. The cleric shouts out for the paladin to move back to find the sorcerer. The paladin can move generally in this direction, but she is unable to see or to detect the invisible sorcerer. The sorcerer teleported into his current location, and he did not yet move or do anything that could reveal his position. Before trying to move, the Paladin uses her action to use nearby dirt and grass to douse and end the burning condition on herself. She commands her otherworldly steed to use its action to roll on the ground to end its burning condition. Now the Paladin moved directly backwards as instructed. She still cannot detect where the sorcerer might be located. The Paladin commands her steed to use its regular movement to occupy a different position. As a bonus action, the Paladin uses her Lay on Hands feature to regain 15 hit points. In case of emergency, she reserves 5 hit points in this healing pool. The Light Domain Cleric starts her turn with the burning condition. She sustains 4 points of fire damage. The Cleric can see the sorcerer with her See Invisibility spell. At this distance, she can upcast Dispel Magic with a 4th level spell slot, automatically ending the sorcerer's Greater Invisibility spell. The current distance is outside the range of 60 feet of the sorcerer's counterspell. The sorcerer grumbles to himself that he teleported too far away. The Cleric then continues with her movement closer to the sorcerer. At the end of round 2, the tide of the battle begins to shift in favor of the Paladin and the Cleric. Nonetheless, the sorcerer has remained unharmed so far. While observing the battle, the Bladesinger wizard Sailor Moonglow encourages for her 2 students to use their teamwork toward victory. In round 3, the Draconic Sorcerer Sebastian Drake uses a bonus action to start his innate sorcery feature, adding a +1 bonus to his spellcasting modifier. As his action, the sorcerer casts Fireball. The Paladin, the Cleric, and the Paladin's steed roll for their dexterity saving throws. The Paladin succeeds. The Cleric and the Paladin's steed fail. The Paladin will sustain half of the fireball damage. The Cleric and the steed will suffer the full amount of 24 fire damage. With this amount of damage, the otherworldly steed vanishes. It can be summoned back at a later time. The sorcerer moves farther away from his opponents. He has not yet found the best way to control the range of this battle. The Fire Elemental spends its turn to dash back toward the scene of the battle. It cannot reach close enough to attack because the combatants by now have moved farther away. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Bona Navan, repeats her command spell for the Fire Elemental to flee. The Fire Elemental fails its saving throw. Once again, it will need to use its next turn to flee. The Paladin moves toward the sorcerer. With her bonus action, she uses her once-per-day free casting of Misty Step to teleport another 30 feet, entering into melee contact with the sorcerer. However, she no longer retains an action to attack during this turn. The Cleric starts her turn still with the burning condition. She sustains 1 point of fire damage. The Light Domain Cleric moves closer to the sorcerer, and she upcasts a Guiding Bolt with a 3rd level spell slot. The attack roll scores a critical hit against the sorcerer. The damage dice are doubled, in total amounting to 12 die 6. The Guiding Bolt produces 43 points of radiant damage. At the end of round 3, suddenly, the sorcerer is in danger of losing this battle. He will not survive another round of attacks. His Fire Elemental will spend its next turn to flee. The Paladin and the Cleric appear to be in good shape with their hit points and prepared to end this battle. In round 4, the Draconic Sorcerer, Sebastian Drake, announces that he will honor his promise to go away and acknowledge the defeat. He never will return to this place. However, he cannot guarantee about what will happen outside the bounds of the Spellsword Academy. As a bonus action, the sorcerer uses metamagic to quicken a Thunderstep spell, creating a burst of thunderous energy around him. The Paladin rolls for a Constitution saving throw. She succeeds, and she sustains only half of the thunder damage, reducing the 9 points down to 4 damage. As part of the Thunderstep, the sorcerer teleports 90 feet away, into a place that the Paladin and the Cleric cannot see right now. The sorcerer uses his action to dash away, making his escape from the Spellsword Academy. The fire elemental spends its turn to flee. Later, it becomes befuddled about what to do, until eventually it will vanish and return to its home in the elemental plane of fire. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, and the Light Domain Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, together have won this Nemesis battle, by virtue of their teamwork. The sorcerer has disappeared from here, but he may yet pose a threat in the future. After witnessing this event, the Bladesinger wizard, Sailor Moonglow, congratulates her two students for their success. She proclaims that the Paladin and the Cleric now will advance to the third of the 3 tests for graduating from the Spellsword Academy. The third test will involve an investigation of where the sorcerer Sebastian Drake has gone, and what he may yet be plotting. The Bladesinger remembers that the sorcerer was one of the 4 talented individuals who previously acted as the enforcers of a ferocious fire-breathing red dragon. After the Bladesinger and her companions defeated those enforcers and the dragon, they never were seen again, until the sorcerer's appearance here today. Based on these latest events, an investigation will be necessary. Our story will continue in the next episodes of Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.